Hello and welcome to another edition of Extra Connections with James Lott Jr. I'm James Lott Jr. Here on my online network, JLJ Media. I have over 35 different series on here you can choose from Star Wars to soap operas and everything in between. Well, this show celebrated 5 years this year and I was up for an award. I didn't win. One of my friends won. I'm happy for her. But I was up for an award for doing this show because we are here to connect you with people, places, things, and ideas. This person is amazing. I want to tell you something. Okay, so I first knew of her through, let me make sure I say this line correctly. Why be a gold digger when you can own the mine? And she is not kidding. This is her life. So she's an author, got many books. She's on television as a host, panelist. She's does speaking engagements, a great speaker. She also is a CEO and president of iFinance Canada, Inc. So she's a businesswoman, entrepreneur. She also, of course, was a star of the Real Housewives of Toronto. And she's a mother of a bunch of children. So we're going to talk about all of that. And she has a doctorate in business administration. She's just amazing. Dr. Ann Kaplan. Hi, Ann.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good. We were
separated.
I know. We're a lot.
When we went in there, I looked at my husband and I thought, am I going to be able to stay with this guy? Like, really, seriously? He's a surgeon, and all of a sudden he's staying home. He's not operating because all the operating clinics got shut down.
Right.
And he's home all the time. And could I stay with him? But I realized partway through the pandemic that I actually liked him. So it was, I didn't know that. I liked his personality. I loved being with him. And I think we're stronger for it because we spent every day together. We did our own routines. We're working in the next room. We'd break and have lunch. We'd go back and, oh my goodness. I reset, but I realized that the people I'm with are who I want to be with.
That's me. I was chuckling. We were chuckling, but that is a real thing, though. It's like you were like, there are things you learned about each other. You've been married for a while, but now you're learning something new with this whole, hi, we're together all the time now. That's a very different thing than just being married. You go off to work, Miss Ann goes off to work, everybody does their thing, you come back together for dinner. You were together a lot. So we're chuckling, but that really is something serious.
Yeah, and in the pandemic, because I cook a lot. I don't know if you like Thai food or spicy seafood.
I do.
Tons of Asian food.
Ugh.
And with so many kids, I've always got to cook these big dinners and accommodate their health and everything else. So during the pandemic, I actually wrote a cookbook and I took photographs. So I have 340 recipes in this cookbook. It's called Not Your Average Cookbook. But the funny part was my husband, I'd cook the dinner at night and we'd have like 5 dishes in the dinner. And then we'd photograph each one. So my husband had to sit there and he had to wait for each one. So he'd have like the broccoli first. And then he'd wait, just hold on, we have to photograph it. So we'd photograph the broccoli. He is not a patient man. And then he'd have like the meat. So he'd have the meat afterwards. Like, wait, you can't have the carrots yet. Hold the carrots, hold on, we had to do the lighting. And then we photograph the carrots. So to do that many recipes during like a 3-month period, that's a lot of cooking, but I didn't want to. So those were the dinners. Like 8 courses was the most we ever did.
Wow. Oh my goodness. Well, I mean, and you do it big, girl, because did you have 8 children? Yes,
merger acquisition startup. So I had 2, he had 2, we married and we had 2. And then unfortunately, my sister passed away and we got 2 more. So we ended up with 8 and they're all gone. They're all out of the house as of 3 weeks.
Really?
4 hours, 12 minutes and 72 seconds ago. They are out. They're out. Gone.
You sound like a parent. I love that. I took care of 1. I raised 1 and I was tired. I don't even know how. I mean, you're sitting here looking beautiful and having a regular conversation with me. I'm like, how do you do that with all those? I mean, with all of those kids all those years?
What did you have, a boy or a girl?
Girl.
A girl. So girls, I find it a little bit harder, but the boys, I mean, they're beautiful, wonderful to raise. They're wonderful. I wasn't successful with all of them. So my daughter wants to get this, she's 18 years old. She wants to give back to the world and do humanitarian work.
Wow.
Don't wear designer clothes. I failed completely. I'm not getting money. She's just out there like saving the world.
I love
And
it.
I'm like, put on this Louboutin shoe, and she won't. It's just, so don't what you wish for when you go, oh, my daughter just took my credit card. Just remember when they don't take your credit card.
Right, exactly.
Die, like save the world. You're going, oh my God, just go.
That's hilarious.
Girl, yeah.
That's hilarious. Oh my goodness, I love it. I'll get back to the parenting in a second, but you guys, I'll go back to the cookbook. So, so so she said, how many dishes are in this cookbook? How many recipes?
Just over 340 dishes.
Wow. So you do 340 different dishes. That's amazing.
Well, this is actually kind of smart because I made the dishes really easy. It's called Not Your Average Cookbook. All the pictures are funny. Like instead of having this shrimp on the plate for barbecued shrimp, I have them actually lying on lounge chairs with a little miniature barbecue. And it's kind of play on pictures and food.
Yeah.
All the dishes are made from scratch. So say you had sweet chili sauce with your shrimp.
Yeah.
You could buy the sweet chili sauce, or it has a recipe that you could make the sweet chili sauce.
Oh, wow.
So a lot of the recipes are showing you how to easily make things from scratch so you could make all your foods natural. And there we are. None of us these days are natural, but yet we're eating all this natural food. It's like you're all filled up with fillers and silicone. Like, I'll have
oh my God, Ann, that is so
pure water. Oh, I don't want anything unnatural in me.
My God, oh my God.
You can't even drink the water getting by the lips. It's like
oh my God.
So,
I love you, Ann.
Anyway,
that is hilarious. And it's so true. No, but it's true. I mean, that part, especially here in LA, especially.
No.
Especially. Oh yeah, come on, girl. You know that. But I love it. But
when you talk about cosmetic enhancement and LA, I think when cosmetic enhancement first came out, and we were financing it. That's the business I'm in, is financing medical. When it first came out, people just got filled up.
Yeah.
They just went to the doctors and they got bigger. Now, and doctors didn't know any better because it's just new. All these fillers and the Botox was all new. Now doctors are artists. They know how to fill. They know how to do it, and people know how to select a good doctor. So the part about the big lips is actually there are some people that go big, but it's almost like people have become cars.
Yeah, I agree.
You have to change all the parts and refill them and do things like that. We're cars. Yeah. Our doctors are mechanics. But you go to a good mechanic and you can never tell that there was a scratch.
That's so true. I have some friends in the business, and they're good. They're good here in LA. They're good. They're good at what they do. They're really good at what they do. And there are people who, they just look natural. It's just a little tune up. Get a little tune up here and there, get a little lift. That kind of stuff kind of happens. It's okay. I have no judgment against it. I always like, do what you gotta do. As long as you feel good, man, and you're safe, then do what you gotta do. I mean, I just think but it's funny. I mean, you just have me laughing about the part about how, yes, they may not be natural on the outside, but they're eating all this, like, I'll have, the horses, the cows raised on certain grass and that kind of stuff. Like, I get that.
Yeah.
What is your favorite dish in a book? Do you have one?
I do. For me, my favorite dish is I do a red curry.
Ooh.
And it's a Thai red curry, and there's no fish sauce or anything in it. It's just amazing. But the other one is doing tofu squares in black pepper with hoisin sauce.
Sounds good to me. Oh.
Really good. It's really good. And then I do like the Nobu miso cod, like they have at Nobu.
Oh.
That's easy to make. It's only like 4 ingredients, but it's how you cook it that makes a difference. So I cook it over and over and over again till I learn how to make it really, really perfect.
Yeah. That's good. That's good. Oh my God, I love that. Yummy. That's good. Now we'll get back to the kids. So what is one thing that you've taken away from being a mom to your kids, stepkids, sisters, nieces? What is one thing you've taken away from all of that?
Well, if anyone ever wants to give you their kids, so don't take them. Don't. Stay away, don't take them, because it's really hard. Being a parent is a serious thing, and you have to want to be a parent, and you have to be willing to raise your kids.
Yeah.
And I think that's the big thing I took away from it, is my life had to become being a parent. But I was also a wife.
Yeah.
So I didn't want my husband to feel like he lost his wife when he married me and I had so many kids. So I just said, it's okay to have a babysitter and go to dinner. Like, I don't have to do everything. I don't have to be there 24 hours with my kids. They don't want me 24 hours. So that was important to me, as to be, not to try to be everything to these guys.
That's so, you know, and studies have shown when kids see their parents having a life, that actually shows them how to have a life a little bit. Like they're like sponges. They see everything we're doing. If you devote all your time to them and it's all about them, they don't get to see, like, you don't, like, you go to work, that you have a job, or that he does that. Like they don't see any of that. It's like, well, their life isn't as well rounded. You should be able to go out to dinner every once in a while, which is Junior, have a date night with your husband. Like, why not? It makes you happier. You'll be a happier parent.
Yeah, or a happier person, because it's not, I need to be a happy person to be a good mom. It's also, and when you say your kids see you having a good time, as soon as our youngest son was out the door, we dropped him off, and he's playing basketball in the US. We dropped him off and we moved to Vegas. And they're like, we now live in Las Vegas. And they're like, why? And it's like, why wouldn't we? I don't have to follow a script. I don't have to say, I'm going to do the same thing for the rest of my life. I don't have to hold your bedroom for you at home with your basketball in the corner and your old running shoes and all the whatever that stretchy stuff is on the side of your
Yes.
I don't even want to go in that room.
Yes.
The boys are. And we're going to do what we want. And why not?
Yeah.
Just why wouldn't we?
That's very smart. I deal with people in the organizing world where the parents are holding on to the kids' stuff. And the kids don't even want it. The kids have moved on and doing other stuff, and they're holding on to it. And it's like, what about you and yours? It's your space now. What about you? Like, you should open. And when they get rid of it, they feel freer. They feel like, the world is just there.
So that organizing stuff you do you organize people's lives, or do you organize their things? Or both?
Sometimes both, and sometimes separate. So yes, I do both. I'm certified in 4 areas of life coaching and 3 areas of organizing. So I can actually just do a closet for you. Today I was doing helping a person do all their wigs, or organizing all their wigs, and then sometimes I actually help you, life coach you through the process of organizing your space. So I do both.
Oh, all right. I wish I knew you when we were just moving into Vegas, because I'm still trying to do my closet. But I have a question for you.
Yeah.
You need toilet paper?
Yes.
Which way's up and which way's down?
See, I'm a person who I always feel like the closest to me is the easiest, because it's easy to tear. And it's also the closest to you while you're doing your business. So I say over. So it's over coming towards you. Some people like under, because they like to rip it up. They like to rip up. So I don't know. I like it over. I'm left-handed. I like it over. It's easy for me to grab. That's how I am.
All right.
You see what I'm saying? That some people like it where it's easy. You have to rip sheets off, obviously, to use it. For some people, it's easier to rip it coming down, or they're afraid it'll take too much coming down. Otherwise, others go up, but they can't really get it. Sometimes you can't get it either. You're like, I'm trying to, I always say, I tell people, try it both ways, see how you feel, what's best for your hand, your dexterity, your hands.
So we have a cleaning lady that comes in, and she cleans the bathrooms, and she always leaves the toilet paper with this fan.
Yeah, I've seen that.
It looks like a swan kind of fan. So I got this pegged. I take the toilet paper off where the thing is, and I hide it in the garbage bucket. And then I have another one that doesn't have fans, because I don't want to ruin the toilet paper. You just keep an extra one hidden in the bathroom, and I put that one back. And so it's always fanned, because you only use it once, and she can't come back like every hour.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yes, I know. Yes.
Yeah.
I love it. No, wait, you're in Vegas, right?
Yes.
Vegas is. I was just in Vegas a month ago. Vegas is changing. It's totally growing. Do you like it so far?
Like is an understatement. I love Vegas. Okay. I haven't driven in Vegas yet, so I have to still figure out how to do that. Okay. And it's just nice people,
Yes,
smart people,
I agree.
creative people. So I did a video in Vegas. My husband and I renewed our wedding vows a couple weeks ago, and I had a flash mob breakout in the wedding. We went to the little church in the West. He had no idea. I walked down the aisle in my wedding gown, got to the end, and all the guests were all wearing my fashion line.
Oh my goodness.
And we'd have music just change, the wedding march changed to the music, and we did a flash mob in there. But in order to make that happen, I had to get all the dancers, 30 dancers. I had to get videographer. I had to get the church on board, the minister, all that stuff had to happen. And I was surprised how easy it was to do and how professional everybody was.
Oh, good.
Completely professional.
Yeah.
And I've done the flash mobs in LA, in New York, in Toronto. So it was my first experience of just really easy grabbing talent. And maybe that's because Vegas, in such a small area, has so many. Turn that off. Has so many talented people.
I agree. I know I was going to say that. I figured because you're just, everybody's there. They're all the performers. I mean, they're all right there. But no, I'm seeing the arts district growing and downtown's growing. And it's like, I'm just seeing the outskirts are starting to grow. I'm like, okay, Vegas, it's getting bigger and it's growing and it's nice. It's not just the strip, folks. There's more to it.
I am so sorry because I am in a hotel.
Yeah, so you can't help it. I know it's going to be.
Let me, I'm just going to put it in the toilet. Know how to turn the phone. You know, I don't know how to turn a TV on, even in my own home. On TV, but I don't know how to use a TV converter.
Oh, that's so funny. Oh my goodness.
I'm sure there's other people out there who don't know how to use a converter.
I'm sure. I would be surprised. Now I do want to mention, we have to talk about, of course, the Real Housewives of Toronto. And I said, you're hilarious, you're funny. You did this one video, you did this recap of the season. It was your commentary was hilarious. I just want to ask you, because you came in there with a background that's so not reality television. I mean, you come from finance and business, and so you have died and family stuff. Was there any trepidation to do the show when you first came into your orbit?
Just no. I mean, I had already done TV, as you said, and then they interviewed me, and I actually didn't know what the interview was for, and kind of figured out during the interview. And then when I found out it was a Real Housewives, I'd never seen it.
Oh, never seen none of them? You never seen any of them?
No, well, actually, I brought my kids up without television, and so Smart. I just had not seen. I've done television, but I had not.
You've done it.
So I did watch shows. That was part of the requirement. I did watch some of the shows. And then I thought, okay, if you like who you are, why would you care if you did reality TV? So if you don't like who you are, then you're not going to like what you see. So I thought, okay, if I don't like who I am, then I better change something. So I was fine with it. I thought it was a riot. I had the best time doing it. And I was not allowed to tell the kids until the show had sort of moved along. So I had a confidentiality agreement that I would not tell kids. I could tell my husband, that was it. And I stuck to it. So when they came in and filmed, I told the kids it was a show called 8 is Too Many, and that we were going to boot one of them. We were going to boot one of them out. So they thought they were filming a show called 8 is Too Many.
That's amazing.
And they were like, take Luke. And then the other one's like, I'm out of here. I'll go.
That's funny. Oh my God, that's so funny. Yeah, no, what you just said is something that's really interesting. If you don't, that makes sense. If you don't like yourself, you have issues, you're not going to like who you see on there. The camera picks up everything. The camera takes it to everything. You're going to hate it. It's going to be a horrible experience.
Well, can you imagine what you do and you're on all the shows that you're on and all that you do? And if you didn't like you, and then you go back and look at it and you go, I don't like that. And then you go and do it again.
Right.
I don't like me. Like, I'm a real turkey. And then you go and do it again. You don't change anything about yourself. But if it's just like, if you say something you don't mean to, you have one choice. You can ignore it, or you can go back and change that about yourself and address it. So that's what reality TV is you need to learn how to entertain, and you have to look at yourself and say, how can I still be entertaining? Like, you can't shut yourself off.
No.
And be a better person, but still be entertaining.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I told people, I said, I've had cameras follow me around before, and after a while, you do forget after a while. I mean, you know they're there. I mean, you know they're there because you know that you see the cameraman, you get to know them. They're producers somewhere. But it's just like, but it's just one of those things where after a while, you do kind of, I mean, you're very natural in front of camera. I like the camera's my friend. I mean, I don't mind it. But you do after a while, kind of, you start to just live your life. You have to just like, kind of present what you're going to present. I feel like you did that. You presented. I mean, I said there were times I laughed with you. There were times I was like, I mean, just you know, you look like you had a great time. You look like you had a great time.
Yeah, I had a really loved everything about it, and I absolutely love television. It's or entertaining.
Yeah.
Whether I'm just having dinner with somebody, whether I'm having a dinner party or just out with someone, I like entertaining and I like being entertained. So it's why waste a moment having a conversation if you're not into the conversation? It's, you know, I was.
I like that. Okay, so the first time you were recognized outside of the entertainment world when you were doing this, you did one season. It was only one season. You did a season. What did it feel like being recognized for a reality show? What was that like?
It was like you could draw a line in the sand, and I had done television before, but the Housewives just brings you to another level.
Yeah.
At first, I didn't know why somebody knew me. I thought that they worked for me. And
okay.
I have 100 employees in the office in Toronto, and I thought it was just someone who worked for me that I didn't recognize. And so I'm like, yeah, hey, how you doing? And then after a while, I realized that people were actually immediately recognizing me. And I would go in the airport and people would go, Ann, hello, or restaurants, they'd follow me into the washroom. And once I got used to it, I actually liked it, but I didn't thrive on it because that notoriety, that fame ends. And I did not want to be, that was what was going to define me. Because when that notoriety ends and I'm craving it, if I craved it, I've lost my identity. So my identity has to be how I treated my kids, how I treated my husband and my friends, and my values, not being recognized. So that was really important to me, that I didn't enjoy it too much, but I had fun with it.
That's a very interesting take. I've interviewed so many other, that's a very interesting take about how you didn't make it your whole thing. Like you liked it when it was happening, you knew what was going on, but you know that this could be for a certain amount of time and you want that to be it. You want that to be, I mean, there's other things you want to do. There's other things you don't want that to just be it.
Yeah, and I was on Air Canada and I flew it all the time one time.
Yeah.
And one time I was on the flight after that, and the stewardess came back and there was a note from the pilot. He wanted me to come up to the cockpit, and I thought, oh my God, this guy's hitting on me.
Yeah.
Like Air Canada all the time. I'm a super elite with Air Canada, and now I'm going to have to take a different airline. And I'm not going to be able to go anywhere because this guy is just, he wants to get laid in the cockpit. I'm so upset. I'm so upset.
Yes.
I finally, the stewardess takes me up to the cockpit to the guy, and he's like, hey, you know, we have a friend in common. And I heard you were on the plane. And I'm like, you mean I'm not attractive?
You don't want to get me up at all.
No interest, none whatsoever in me.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, I thought it was just like somebody had recognized me and they wanted to do something in the cockpit.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. You're still safe to fly on Air Canada.
You still fly Air Canada. You're fine. But that's interesting. What you're saying, because you had a life before. That's what I'm saying. But it must be interesting for you to go, well, and then but now they're seeing me on a global scale. They're seeing on a larger scale in their homes. That's what it is. Yeah, it must be interesting.
Yeah, and I've been recognized in Hawaii and different places. Yeah. People are really into the Housewives, even in Australia. So when people are really into the Housewives, they recognize you.
Well, it's a global brand now at this point. It's a global brand, and they're all over. They have Johannesburg and Sydney and Auckland. They're all over the place. I mean, they're everywhere. And I think you're part of that. Do you feel like you're part of a sisterhood? Even if the ones you don't know, it's like you just know you're part of a sisterhood.
Yeah, when I go to different places, I look up the Housewives and go to see them. So it's like I text them on Instagram and go, hi, I'm in town, and we get together. So I have gone together with different housewives. I even stopped in to see Lisa Vanderpump in Las Vegas.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, she wasn't like, I think she probably gets bothered a lot. And so, you know, she wasn't mean or anything, but she just, you know, like, oh, another fan. And I was like, fanning on her.
Yes, I met her before too. She actually is really nice, but you're right. You could tell that she's very popular in the genre. She's very popular. I met her and her daughter Pandora. They both were very nice, but they're just, you could tell they must get this all the time. I mean, these are like the top tier housewives that are just so well known. So I agree with you. It's like she was nice to me too. She was not mean to me at all. She was very nice, but you could tell it's just like the weight of it.
Constantly on. That would be hard.
Okay, now I want to talk to you about finance. I miss in America, and now you're in America with us, I miss that my and I have grandkids, they're not learning economics. Like when I was in school, you learned economics. You learn about finance, you learn a little piece, you go to college, you learn more, but I feel like that's missing. And because you work in finance and everything, I just think, I've seen some of your talks on finance. I feel like that's where a lot of this next generation needs to learn how to manage their money. So when I say that statement, what do you think when I say that statement?
I think you need to learn how to make money.
Okay.
And
okay.
Because these kids nowadays, I think we're going to have a really big awakening for the younger generation that isn't pulling in the kind of money that they are used to living on. So they've lowered their lifestyle, their expectations. They can live with less. So they can pay their cell phone bill, they can room with other people, they can stay at home with their parents, they can have less expectation to buy a house and cars. Now there's that other tier that do really well, but there's a very large number that are learning to live with less. And so it's more instilling a work ethic in the younger generation to say, and we as parents have to think, kids don't type. I mean, they type, but they don't handwrite anymore.
Oh, right.
So they're not learning the same things that we learned to do. And do they need to learn how to handwrite is the question. I mean, they're really good on computers and things like that. Do they really need to learn all the stuff that we learned? So I'm not sure that that's necessary either.
As I said, well, she thought you bring up that we didn't teach them a good work, because you're right. They are learning how to live with less. They are taking their time to find whatever it is that they want to do. For us, for me, it was like I went to college right out of high school. I went to a professional out of college. Yes, later on, I started finding what I wanted to do, so to speak. That's my calling. But in the beginning, it was like, no, you go out to make money. You go out to do what you do. You go get a career and you can sell that career, move up. And you're right. This generation is not necessarily even going to college necessarily, or they're going to college and they're just not, I don't know what I want to do. I'll get a degree in liberal arts and I'll just see what happens. Like it's not the same meaning as it is for, you're right for us. You're right about that.
You're not learning to cook. I think that kitchens in the future are going to be like a little mini fridge and an heating pad. And a heating pad. Do you know what? My son will not eat my cooking. He goes into the freezer. He's moved out now. He'll go in the freezer and pull out that General Tao's chicken.
The pack. The front.
So I snuck and I took the General Tao's frozen chicken package that he threw in the garbage, cleaned it up, made the General Tao's recipe, put the whole thing back together. I filmed the whole thing, put it in the freezer, and he didn't know. And he'll go in, I'll be cooking General Tao's chicken. He goes in the freezer, pulls out the frozen one, which I actually made, and will eat that, but he won't touch it if I make it. So he is so used to Uber Eats, which I don't order for him, frozen dinners, things like that. And that's to him is self-sufficient. He's not thinking about nutrition. Not that General Tao's isn't nutrition.
Right.
Not thinking about home cooked meals and the stuff that we thought was like mom's home cooked meals was important to me.
Right.
Kids days, nope, they want to dictate when they eat and what they eat.
That's so true, Ann. You're right about that. That's so true. I never looked at it that way. Now I'm looking at it a little differently now. It's like we gotta get the basics first before we can even teach them the other stuff, I guess. We gotta get the basics going. How to live on your own and how to be self-sufficient. Because I know the pandemic for some folks, because restaurants were closed, but there was still delivery.
Yes.
There was still delivery. So you may not be able to go out to eat, but you can still order in. And now they can shop for you too. They shop for you. You just type in Instacart and all of a sudden, whatever store you want, you got stuff delivered.
Yeah, it's actually almost more convenient doing it that way.
I know. I I get busy. I can't always do it, but I like going into a store and like walking down the aisles and seeing what I can get. But sometimes I can't do it. I'm just too busy. I need some milk and eggs. I got to throw it together.
Do you know what happened in LA? I was over, what's that? Ventura Highway, that area where
Yes. Oh yeah. All the store, everything's on that street. Yes.
they've got the grocery store there.
Yes.
And I'm grocery shopping. I was down there visiting one of my sons. They went to film school in LA.
Okay. Yeah.
So I'm down there visiting, I'm grocery shopping. And there's this guy in the aisle watching me. And anyway, I found out that there's these guys that hang out to pick up girls in the aisles. So I'm trying to grocery shop, but I'm like the meat. I went back and said it was so weird because it was this, and it wasn't like a guy that I would want hitting on me, not that I want someone, but it was just like, oh my goodness, like it was creepy. It was creepy. Anyway, that happened in LA.
In LA, I'm not surprised. It's LA, I'm not surprised at all. They try to find what they can. But but it's funny. But again, as going back to your thing, it is true that this generation is used to things that we're not used to. And you're right. So we eventually see how this plays out over the next 10 years or so, how it's going to play out, because when they hit their 30s, I'm just curious what that's going to mean. And then this generation coming up, what is after them? What is that going to mean to them? Are they going to be totally different? Are they going to be like back to basics? I mean, I'm curious. They got me curious now. I'm really thinking about it. I'm like wondering how it's going to happen. I just know that sometimes people get money and they don't know what to do with it. Like some of the generations, they're just, it's like water. They just like, the money just goes somewhere and they don't have any money left. They're like, well, you didn't save any of it. I mean, it just makes me nervous. Yeah.
And I don't know what this next generation, their kids will be like. Like, are they not going to get tattoos?
Right, exactly. Like, it'll be the opposite. Like, do the opposite. Like, go far the other way. Some generations just skip. So I'm with you on that one too, Ann. It's like, will they be actually very work conscious and work out? Like, when they go the opposite, I just think, there's and I don't want to beat on the kids. There's some of the stuff that they're philosophizing about, I kind of agree with. It's like, we should be in touch with our feelings. We should kind of, like you just said, not work where you don't want to work. I mean, like, we should be doing that.
Yeah, and my daughter pointed out things to me. I remember she said to me, look at your closet. And I'm like, what do you mean? She goes, look at all the shoes you have. And I must have had 40, 50 pairs of shoes in there. And she goes, look at all the shoes. And I'm thinking, in my head, I'm going, there's not that many. In her head,
they're so beautiful. They're beautiful.
There's 39 too many. And it took me to a point where I started to consider what she was trying to say to me. And she was right. I have become a consumer. And I think that's okay. I don't need to defend it to anybody but me, but I had become a consumer, and I had to look to make sure that I was balancing my life and I'm giving as much as I am spending. So if I want to have that kind of thing, have some justification, not to the world, but to myself, and make sure that I'm balancing that with, so I gave my shoes away and then I bought new ones. No, I'm kidding.
I'll say, sounds good to me. 2 out, 2 in, 2 out, 2 in. That's an organizing thing. I love that. No, and I would say the same thing. I like bags. I'm a big bag girl. I'm a bag lady. I love bags. And one day there was just Michael Kors bag I wanted, and at the Michael Kors store in Century City, and I had money to cover it. Wasn't going to burn the bank or anything, and I got it. And I was like, I got a bag that may be similar to it. That's from somebody else, but I didn't care. I wanted that one. And you're right. I don't have to justify it to anybody else. I wanted it. I use it. I love it. I love looking at it. I love using it. But I also do give back. Also, I do give back to my community, and I do stuff too. I mean, it's like, but it's for me. It's not for you, anybody else. So I agree with you, Ann, completely. It's like, I work hard. If I want something cute, I should have something cute if I want it. And I think you should too, Ann. If you want something cute, then you have something you get it.
Yeah. No, exactly.
I like that. And I found some cute shoes the other day too, and I was like, I'm getting them. I don't care, I'm getting them. I'm just getting them. I'm gonna use them. And that's what it is. Oh, wait, so you mentioned earlier, you have a clothing line?
Yeah, I have.
Tell me everything else. About everything else, you have a clothing line?
Yeah, this is one of
I
the shirts. It's made out of a coffee bag. Actually, it's called Ann KM, like ANNKM_ own it is the Instagram, but it's KM.com is the website for it. But it is not actually just a clothing line. It's a platform that is used for promoting social fairness through fashion. So historically, I wrote the book called Fashion Cares. It's 476 pages. It's the history of fashion cares and raising money for AIDS research. And while I was doing that, I worked with designers, I worked with brands to write the history, the 25-year history of raising money for AIDS research through in the fashion industry. And that got me into the fashion. And I love fashion, but fashion can really be being who you want to be. And right now, the people in fashion have an opportunity to say fairness. And that doesn't mean that there's equality. It doesn't mean that people are considering sizes only. It doesn't mean that we're not being racist, or we're thinking of age, or not being mean to anybody. But when people are designing, and I bring on other designers that are like-minded, so it's not all about me, it's about a like-minded movement, and support new designers and say, when you're putting the fashion out there, think about the fabric you're using, think about how it was made, think about who you're selling to, think about fairness, like, do you have enough sizes for everybody? And just have a conscious effort to consider what you're doing in fashion. And that's what Ann KM is. And so in that, I put my name on the School of Fashion at one of the universities, Ryerson University in Toronto. So it's now the Ann KM Initiative for Social Impact in Fashion. And I put my name on the U for Change for Disadvantaged Children. It's now the Ann KM School of Fashion. And I'm working with some of the major brands to put them on our platform, and they have agreed, and that they are, and state that they are considering the fairness through fashion. So it's an initiative that I felt at this stage in my life, I want to give back, and I also want to have fun. So that's why I'm doing all these flash mobs, because it's just bringing a lot of people together that are like-minded and doing a fun way to post things, because really people don't want to be bored on Instagram. They want to see a fun thing.
Yeah.
So you get married again and you have a flash mob at your wedding with people wearing coffee bags. It's just fun. Because why wouldn't you just have fun doing something? I don't want to sit there sleeping. I'm in finance. I'm not going to go and do something like accounting.
Right.
Gee, I'll be an actuary.
An
actuary.
Oh my God, you're hilarious. I know, I agree. And you don't have the same philosophy. We got to entertain. We're here to entertain. I put a smile on somebody's face. I mean, you never know who makes somebody smile that day, and they see your content and they go, "That's really, I like that." Or just, I mean, you never know. I mean, it's just that's what it's about.
Yeah.
That's what it's about. Dr. Ann Kaplan, you're my new BFF. I am a fan. I'm a total fan. I am a fan. I am following you on Instagram now, so I'm following you. I'm going to see all the things that you're doing. Thank you for your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the opportunity, and I hope to see you again. And I don't know if you're going to come to Vegas, but I hope to see you again. And thanks so much for having me on your show.
Yes. One of the things, but I thought one of your dishes or something, one of your dinners or something, when you're cooking.
I could show you how to cook something. If something you want to learn, like those little squares that you get at Nobu that you dip in the soy sauce and the avocado. Oh my goodness, those are good.
That could be fun. We can do that. That'd be fun. That'd be fun. Can't wait. We'll have a good time. So Dr. Ann Kaplan, she is great. Thanks for being on the show. Like I said, what is your Instagram again? Tell people what's your Instagram again.
My Instagram is Ann Kaplan, like ANNKAPLAN, and Kaplan _own it.
Okay, she own it. That's right, kids. She does. And so follow her. Get her books. Get everything. She has like empire stuff. So go ahead and check her out. Good. Do it. Just did. I said so. Do it. I'm James Lott Jr. and I am where all James Lott Jr.'s are sold at James Lott Jr. on all social media platforms and on TikTok. I'm on there too. And everyone, please be kind to each other. Connect. That's the whole thing. We're not, no man, no woman is an island. We are here to connect with each other. We're all part of the same community. And I'll see you next time.